The following episode is in memory of Eugene Paul Johnson Sr. Welcome back to God is in the Groove, the memoir podcast where Prince's music scores a lifetime of faith, wonder, and perseverance. I'm Chris Johnson, and today's episode is called Move Over, Give Me the Keys. I'm taking you all the way back to 1983, the moment when a 3-year-old kid in southwestern Minnesota heard a certain song on the radio and, without knowing it, began a lifelong conversation with the purple universe. The piece you're about to hear was written earlier this spring, in March, actually. Think of it as an audio sonogram, a close up of the moment my Prince fandom first fluttered to life. Close your eyes and let that Linn drum beat be your heartbeat and float with me into the dark before awakening. In the moment before awareness, I floated, suspended in the darkness of musical discovery. Then it happened. The beat of the Linn LM-1 drum machine pulsed through the radio speakers like a primordial heartbeat, steady and insistent. A song was beginning, although I did not yet know its name. The rhythmic pulsation marked time in my developing consciousness, each beat a day passing in the gestation of my Prince fandom. The precise yet organic drum pattern became the foundation, the very skeleton around which my musical appreciation would form. Next, the synths arrived, swelling around me like amniotic fluid, creating the environment in which I could safely develop. These electronic waves enveloped me completely, warm, protective, and nourishing. They carried me gently through each sonic movement, letting me tumble and turn as new neural pathways of appreciation formed within my 3-year-old mind. Then there was his voice. That voice, functioning as the placenta through which all musical nutrition flowed, ranging from gentle whispers to falsetto cries. Prince's vocals filtered the raw elements of funk, rock, R&B, and pop into a perfect combination that would sustain my musical soul for the rest of my life. His voice delivered essential wisdom about love, passion, and caution directly into my developing sensibilities. Dez Dickerson's guitar solo entered in a flash, an assertion of life and individuality, a reminder that this was not just passive consumption, but the beginning of a relationship. As Dez's nimble fingers coaxed those notes into existence, my own fingers reached out for something I knew was vital, but couldn't yet grasp. When the song finally faded, I had been born, delivered into a purple singularity. Though I couldn't articulate it as a 3-year-old, something fundamental had changed. I had crossed a threshold and would never return to the person I was before I heard Little Red Corvette. In just 4 minutes and 37 seconds, an umbilical connection was forged that would sustain me through a lifetime of musical exploration. Welcome to the dawn, it said. My name is Prince, and I've come to play with you. And just like that, one song rewrote the DNA of my life. I didn't know the titles of the songs yet, or even all the words, but I knew I'd been claimed. If Little Red Corvette was the umbilical cord, then every Prince song since then has been a nutrient, feeding a body of faith, curiosity, and yes, groove. I think my dad would appreciate how a simple radio moment turned into this podcast you're listening to right now. So here's to you, Dad. Thanks for keeping the dial open. Next time on God is in the Groove, I'm going to talk about growing up in Minnesota and what it was like to share that special circumstance with a superstar. Until next time, this is Chris Johnson. Thanks for listening.